Good morning, everybody. Calm Biker here. It's cold. Just pulled over to reset my camera. The camera had crashed. I don't think that's the cold. I think that's just drift being drift. Maybe it's time for a new memory card or something, I don't know. Look at the price of that fuel. £1.50 for petrol. It's fuel I want to talk about. I'm on my way home from getting my MOT done and get the animal MOT'd for another year. All passed one advisory, same advisory I always get, exhaust a bit noisy. Meh. But while I was in there, I was looking around the bikes that he's got in there at the minute, and as I was leaving, there was another chap turning up who has his Honda Goldwing in there, old Honda Goldwing, and he's been having some running problems with it, engine running problems, where it wasn't really running very well at all, and it was coming out with some horrible smells when it was burning as well, which is probably probably not a good thing. If it smells bad to my nose, you know that it's going to smell bad to a mechanic's nose. Yeah, it didn't smell like normal combustion. Anyway, we got to chatting, me and this fella and the mechanic, about E10, because he said to the guy, I've got this running better, I've still got some other bits to do on it to get it running right, but don't put E10 in it, put E5 in it. And we got chatting about the old E10 thing. Now I thought the whole thing about E10 and people getting upset about it was a bit overblown, to be honest. But my mind is starting to change for two reasons. One is what the mechanic was saying today. He's saying that since E10's changed to be the standard fuel that you buy at a petrol station, that the number of bikes he's seeing with engine running problems has increased far beyond anything he's ever seen in his life. And he's convinced, he says there's no way this is coincidence, that the E10 comes in and then just the number of problems start to ramp up as the E10 starts to spread out. And apparently when they put the E5 in, or you know, you're super unleaded, these problems suddenly go away again. I don't think the Goldwing problem is as simple as that, but I just got us triggered on the discussion. But he says he's seeing loads of them. Loads of problems with just engines running rough and stalling and all that kind of stuff. So that was one thing that got me confused and wondering whether it wasn't as overblown as maybe we'd been led to believe. The other thing was actually a little bit further back in time, going back 2 or 3 weeks. It was about the time of the fuel crisis thing that we had, the entirely manufactured fuel shortage that we had for a few weeks, that managed to push the price of fuel up by 10 pence a litre or more around here on that garage I went past. That's more like 15 pence a litre, which is what, an extra 68p a gallon or something, or I guess $1 a gallon if you're in America. Anyway, but by the by, strange how the shortage went away and the fuel price hike didn't, and that the price of fuel to the petrol stations has gone down, but the price of the fuel at the petrol station hasn't. Funny how that happens, isn't it? Anyway, that aside, before that petrol crisis started, I did my usual thing. When I go to the petrol station in the car, I always take a jerry can with me, a 20-litre jerry can. So I fill the car and I fill the jerry can. If I'd have been doing that 2 days later than when I did, I'd have been getting probably punched in the face for for taking unfair amounts of petrol. But it's just the way I always do it. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. I mean, there's never been a shortage. Well, not for a long time has there been a shortage, so it's never been an issue. And it was the day before the shortage happened that I went into a petrol station, filled the car up with E10, filled up the 20-litre jerry can with E10, the jerry can for this, and obviously the stuff in the petrol in the car for the car. I'm not going to siphon it out. Now, I haven't had any problems with the bike with the car, I went for a drive a couple of days later, and I drove to the shops about probably a mile away. Went in, did my shopping, came out, turned the car on, engine light comes on, engine light doesn't go out. So the engine management light came on. I thought, that's not very good. Luckily it didn't come on red or flashing or anything, just yellow. So I drove home and thought I'll have a look at that tomorrow, and then forgot to have a look at it. And I had to go to the shop again another few days later, which was when I remembered. Turn the car on, engine light comes on, engine light doesn't go off. Anyway, I went to the shop and back again, and then I got my meter reader, whatever you call it. Got my reader out, stuck it on the car. Contaminated fuel, that kind of thing. So I think, odd. I'll reset it and see if it comes back. So I reset it, and then I went for a drive, and it didn't come back on. I thought, well, maybe that was just a bit of dodginess. Carried on driving it, did about another 40 miles over a few journeys, maybe 50 miles. And then the engine light came back on again. Same problem. But rather than staying on, suggesting there might be a kind of ongoing problem, it now has decided that every other drive or so it's like I might drive twice without the engine light on, and then it'll come on. And then it'll turn off by itself after a bit. Now, that's not conclusive proof it's the fuel, of course. I haven't had a problem with the bike, as I say. But it does make me wonder, when you start to put these things together, that you've got a mechanic who's saying he's seeing a lot of these kind of problems. I've not had a problem at all with the car ever, and then suddenly the problem starts when we switch over the fuels. Is there something in it? So I'm switching to super for the car to see if that makes a difference, and I'll update you on that if it does, or doesn't, depending on what happens. I'll update you on it. But I just wonder, is anybody else seeing any problems like this? My car, in theory, should be able to run an E10. According to Volkswagen, who made the car, E10 is absolutely fine for it. It's not a powerful car. It doesn't need super unleaded. It doesn't need the extra octane or anything like that. It's like 60 horsepower, 3-cylinder, 1.2. Not even got a turbo on it. So it's not exactly an exciting car to drive. Doesn't really need that kind of extra grunt that super can give to certain cars. But it does seem odd that, I say, it does seem odd that it started about at the same time I changed the fuel over. Anyway, let me know in them there comments. Anybody else having any problems? Thanks for watching, everyone. Ride safe, and I'll talk to you all again soon.